Welcome into the 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. Another loaded show coming your way. And it's all presented by True Classic Tees. I've been able to add to my wardrobe with True Classic over the last several months since they became a sponsor here at Chat Sports. You can add to your wardrobe as well, all thanks to that link. TrueClassicTees.com/chat. Promo code chat for 25% off your order. We'll tell you more about them coming up here in just a bit. As for what we're discussing on today's show, Kyle Shanahan was asked whether or not it's going to be difficult to beat Seattle 3 times in one season, and yes, it looks as though weather is going to play a role in this football game on Saturday. A lot of rumors about Jimmy Garoppolo maybe being targeted by the Las Vegas Raiders with a Josh McDaniels reunion in 2023 NFL free agency, and we also have an update on Trey Lance's surgically repaired ankle. First, though, make sure you subscribe all throughout this playoff run. We're going to be covering this team every day, but even if the Niners get ousted, still going to be here to provide you with the best coverage on the daily basis year-round. So subscribe and don't forget to lock us in for our watch party on Saturday, our pregame show. It is going to be an absolute blast. And the big looming question here for San Francisco, can the 49ers, as 10.5-point favorites, going home to Levi Stadium, beat the Seahawks for a third time this year? Oftentimes, it's really difficult to beat one opponent 3 times in 1 year. It's even difficult to beat a divisional opponent twice, bring out the brooms, and pull out the sweep. But from my perspective, there's really no excuse for San Francisco to lose this game. They're the far better football team. I understand that weather could play a role with showers expected all throughout the afternoon in Northern California, but the 49ers are more talented, deeper, and they're the hotter football team than Seattle. And when they've played so far this year, San Francisco has thoroughly outplayed the Sea Chickens. And you look back to that Week 2 game when Trey Lance got injured, Jimmy Garoppolo came in. This is really where the Niners started to find a little bit of a groove, it looked like, and then they lose that game the following week to the Denver Broncos, and you're like, okay, what's happening here? They start the year 3-4, then they end with 10 straight wins. But going back to Week 2, I thought they played good football against Seattle, and things were looking up, and then the following week is a disaster in the Mile High City. But during this game, and really you have to focus on the matchup here between these two divisional foes, 25 first downs to 14, and Jimmy G played well in this game, 70 plays to 47, 373 yards to 216. Niners ran for 189 rushing yards to 36 for Seattle. 27-7 was the final score, and the only time the Seahawks got on the board was with a blocked field goal that went back for a touchdown. And in Week 15, when the Niners clinched the NFC West at Lumen Field in Seattle, the final score was 21-13. But the 49ers, I thought, also outplayed and dominated Seattle. And it looked to be two teams on two different playing fields here. First downs pretty even, 15-16. Plays directly even at 61 apiece. Yards 381 to 270, as I thought Purdy played really well in this game. George Kittle had 2 touchdowns. 170 rushing yards to 70. San Francisco compared to Seattle, and 21-13 was the final score. And if weather is a factor on Saturday, what was the consistent theme in Week 2 and Week 15? San Francisco running the football really well, being dominant in that fashion, but also stopping the run. And if it's wet, if it's sloppy, if it's a monsoon, the Niners are going to have to run the football a lot. Their running offense is good. Their rushing defense is good. Advantage San Francisco. And then you look at how these two teams ended the season. Seattle was one of the surprise teams in the National Football League to start the year, as Geno Smith was playing really well. Pete Carroll was really maximizing the roster, and then they started to struggle a little bit. 3-5 back half of the year in their last 8 games, and as we just talked about, San Francisco won 10 games in a row to round out the regular season. We'll get to Jimmy Garoppolo and an update on Trey Lance coming up around the corner. First, though, today's show presented by True Classic. 25% off if you use the promo code CHAT at TrueClassicTees.com/chat. Everybody out there, men of all shapes and sizes, dad bods, True Classic has you covered. Rip bods, you know it. Your average Joe, yes sir, get 25% off using that promo code CHAT and free shipping included on purchases over $100. New year, new me, new you, new tees thanks to True Classic Tees. End the old year with a new you in clothes that'll give you the confidence to tackle those 2023 resolutions. Thanks to our sponsor, True Classic, you'll have everything you need to hit the gym, take it slow, or treat yourself to something nice. Shirts for men of all shapes and sizes. Almost all men's t-shirts are designed to look good on certain body types. Not True Classic. That's why TC and the team, they designed t-shirts to make the fellas of all sizes out there feel confident in their clothing. You know that saying, look good, feel good, play good. These tees taper off towards the bottom. They fit tighter around the chest and the shoulders. This is a desirable look that can be achieved by every single body type. One more time, it's trueclassictees.com/chat. Promo code chat for 25% off your order, $100 or more. Then you get free shipping all across the nation. As for what Kyle Shanahan had to say about the uphill task of taking down the same team 3 times in a single season, I don't look at it as you have to beat a team 3 times. We have to beat them on Saturday. That's the game. Don't think other games have to do with it. It comes down to this. You know each other pretty well. You don't surprise each other. Usually each time we play, it comes down to the wire, the last possession, and that's what we're ready to fight for. And let me say this. This game could come down to the wire. I fully expect San Francisco to win it. But a loss here would be an epic choke job. And it would be bad for the NFL. The Niners moving and advancing forward in the playoffs is great because the Niners always draw some of the highest ratings among all teams in the National Football League. And the Seahawks don't have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. The 49ers do. And what I want Kyle Shanahan to do, and I hope that Kyle Shanahan hears this message inside his office in Santa Clara. Kyle, don't play around. Don't get conservative late. If you have an opportunity to get out to an early lead, run up the score, keep your pedal to the gas, and leave no doubt. Blow out the Seattle Seahawks, the most hated rival, just like Georgia blew out TCU in the national championship game. And if that means that you can eat wings on the sideline in the third quarter like the Bulldogs were, and you got to be disrespectful about it, do it. Do not give the Seahawks any breathing room with an opportunity to pull off the upset because that would be disastrous for the future direction of this football team. You've won 10 games in a row. You're the far superior team. You have an opportunity here to compete for and win a Super Bowl. Don't blow it against Pete Carroll and an organization that has owned you because it will put this fan base in shambles. So if you hate the Seahawks, get with me right now. I have a sea chicken right here. I hate the Seahawks. Type F Seattle in the chat right now if you're about that movement. We continue to break down the latest Niners news and rumors. Let's touch on Jimmy Garoppolo here. Could he be heading to the Las Vegas Raiders in NFL free agency? Potentially. According to Albert Breer, Raiders looking into Tom Brady and Jimmy G, former teammates, former Patriots who have that connection with current Raiders head coach Josh McDaniels. Here's what Breer reported on the Dan Patrick Show. I can tell you unequivocally, this is a fact. The Raiders are looking into signing Tom Brady. The Raiders are looking into going and acquiring Tom Brady. Yes, this is something that the Raiders are doing their research on, and the same goes for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're looking at the idea of studying Jimmy G. That's what Derek Carr was up against over the last couple of months when they looked at him and they went, I don't know if this is going to be able to work past this year. I think Carr was sort of thrown into a de facto competition with Garoppolo and Brady, and it's can we do better with those two as compared to Carr? And Garoppolo, Brady, they have ties to Josh McDaniels. They have ownership and familiarity with the offense that McDaniels wants to run. And for Josh McDaniels, it's clear, and it's become clear, obviously, with the benching of Derek Carr, paving the way for Jarrett Stidham to start 2 weeks ago against San Francisco, that he didn't think that Carr could have ownership of his offense. And Derek Carr may be a more gifted quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo. But I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo as my starting quarterback than Derek Carr. As for why the Raiders would be interested in Jimmy G, and this is why I think that Jimmy G is just a better fit with the Raiders over Carr. Familiarity with Josh McDaniels. He knows and understands this offense and the nuances of it. The Raiders have a win-now roster, and for Jimmy Garoppolo, he is not a quarterback who's going to put the team on his back. He needs a good supporting cast. Las Vegas, this year, blew 5 10-point leads. That's a record in the history of the NFL. And for Jimmy G, a bona fide winner, he's won more than 70% of his starts. As a quarterback in the National Football League, he ain't blowing 5 10-point leads. He's also a proven winner playing in a lot of big games. A Super Bowl, 2 NFC Championship games, and what's the biggest game that Derek Carr has ever played in? First-round playoff matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals last year, in which they lost. Garoppolo makes a lot more sense than Derek Carr, and I'd rather have him on my team because, frankly, I think he's the better quarterback, more guts, more toughness as compared to DC. So grade Jimmy G's tenure in San Francisco. Help turn this franchise around. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down in the comment section. Treat it like a Sports Talk Radio call-in line. As for Trey Lance, injury update with him. Why did he have to get a second procedure on his broken ankle that he suffered in Week 2 against Seattle? Kyle Shanahan explaining that. And when you talk to doctors out there, and I've spoken to some doctors, this does seem like a pretty routine and normal surgery. Shanahan said this: I know everyone says all surgeries are successful, and then why do you have to go back in? And this was an understanding on that. I'm not a medical guy, so I think there's something we had to tie together to make sure the bone healed together. But every time you do that, high chance that it can rub on some tendons and just cause irritation. They warned us about that before it happened, and Trey told us about it right away, and that was a good thing. When they had to go back in there, you could see that the bone 100% healed. They just had to go fix that band so it didn't irritate it anymore, and now he's right back to where he was. So that is the latest update on Trey Lance right there, and hopefully he's able to get back on the football field to continue that recovery. Michael Myers is asking for a shout-out. Bang, bang. Michael Myers, shout-out. Bang, bang. Feel free to interact with me, Michael Myers, or anybody else out there. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I'm tweeting about the Niners every single day, so hit me up. Look forward to hearing from you.